Alright, this is bright and early, Sunday morning, like 3-4 p.m. And I'm playing day 2 of the historic qualifier on Arena. Normally I would do commentary over footage of Arena play of my match, but due to some technical mishap with the app I used to record the games with, the first 4 rounds of this day have lost their footage, and I have to go to 17lands.com, which does track all my games, not just limited games, but all my matches, so I can actually like replay them and see what happened. That way I can still show you guys what, like how the games went. It's just not super nice to look at. If you don't want to look at this, just skip right ahead to like round 5 of today. Then we'll be back to like real commentary over recorded matches on Arena. But if you do want to see this, the first 4 rounds are pretty sweet, so if you stick around for that, there's a good variety of decks here. And right now I'm against Munty, who, well, I mean, I don't know what they're playing. This is my first match here. We're expecting tons of red-black today, as well as some affinity decks. And we tried to like tune our sideboard a little bit for this. When I say we, it's like me, Mati Kuisma, Stefan Schutz, who all 3 of us made day 2. I say all 3 of us. We're half the team. Like we're 6 people who played the deck. We made day 2, and we're like looking for some wins here. There's also the thing about day 2 where it's really tight with the number of matches. With like how quickly you have to play your matches, because it's very hard to make day 2. You have to go 7-1 on day 1 in a like field that you have to qualify for to even play in that field, right? So there's only like a couple hundred people on day 2. And since like you're out as soon as you get your second loss, people drop like flies and like disappear from the queues very, very rapidly. So it doesn't like, you know, when you have like 3 to 4 hours left of like, you know, I think the event runs for like 10 hours or so, maybe even 8. I don't know. Like after, you know, 4 hours after the queue starts, it already starts to look dire. There's not many people left at that point. So you kind of have to just get in there and just play, and just hope that, yeah, if you're gonna take breaks and so on, like hope that you can, find enough opponents. So anyway, here I have a 1-lander here. I'm not gonna keep this 1-lander. I can't see if I'm on the play on the draw, but we'll see that as the game starts here. Mulligan to a hand without black mana. It's kind of awkward, right? These are the only 2 lands in my deck that don't tap for the back. Oh, I guess also Friction Tower, but yeah, we have to mulligan this as well. So on 5 here, and decide to keep Inquisition and Fatal Push and 3 lands. It's like, you know, it's an interactive hand. It doesn't really do much, but that is what it is. My opponent needs a Glacial Fortress. Okay, so that probably means blue-white control. So I'm on the draw here against blue-white control, mulliganing to 5. Even having to keep a Fatal Push in hand. Doesn't look great. At least Call Against Command is nice. I just fire off the Inquisition right away. And see. Yeah, this must be the hand, right? Yeah, Jawar Disruption, Archmage's Charm. Okay, so I'm just gonna take away the Archmage's Charm here and just try and like play around this Jawar Disruption for the entirety of the game. I have 3 lands here. I'm just not gonna like let them be able to use it. Take the Archmage's Charm. They play land and pass. Okay, I draw a Trapfinder. That's kind of perfect here. I can play out the Trapfinder, playing for Jawar Disruption. If they try and do anything to it, I can Fatal Push my own Trapfinder. It's a really common play against the control decks, especially game 1 when you have 4 Fatal Push in your deck. Draw Thoughtseize here. Okay, so the hits keep coming off the top here. I'm gonna attack for 1. By the way, you will note that I didn't just Fatal Push my Trapfinder in outside here. That's super risky. If they have a March drawn, or like even like an Archmage's Charm or something to steal my Trapfinder, like anything to disrupt that, they can even like counter it with Jawar Disruption. That's not a play we want to make here. So we just like, you know, make sure to leave all our mana. Draw Thoughtseize here. I do really want to like cast the Thoughtseize before they get to Teferi. That's my answer to Teferi here. I could wait a turn with the Thoughtseize, but I think I'm just gonna run it out now before they draw a counterspell. And yeah, the opponent has just drawn 2 lands here, so that's kind of perfect for me. So now, okay, they have no threats. It's actually looking kind of nice here, but we also don't have much going on. Oof. Except now we do have something going on. All right, so I'm gonna keep chipping in with this Trapfinder. So you can see life total is over here. And I'm just gonna, put Gigantha in my hand here. It's a little bit of a risk. It's actually a pretty big risk. I'm not sure if I like this, but opponent played a tap land, so they don't have Wandering Emperor drawn for that turn. There's a real good chance that if they had the March, they would have gone for it at some point. So I decided to just put Gigantha in hand, as that it usually comes up against control at some point anyway, so it's kind of nice to have. Draw Berkey here, so I'm still missing my land drop. I still don't want to enable the Jawar Disruption, so I'm just going to attack for 1 here. That prompts the opponent, probably like very prematurely, to just make a token with cast an Unveil. Like, they could just take 1 damage here. No real reason not to, but this is kind of perfect. If they block here, I mean, I'm ecstatic, right? Do I hit a Traveler off this? Okay, I hit another Trapfinder. So I could do that, or I can just play out a Berkey, which like might make it easier next turn. So I decided to play out Berkey here. Just like getting into play while it gets around Jawar Disruption. And it's like, not that easy for the blue-white deck to answer, right? They probably have to like spend a sweeper on her. Alright, so now I draw a Village Rites. That's pretty neat. That's like a way for me to sacrifice this Trapfinder. I go for the play of just playing out the Trapfinder here. I have a red mana in pool. It doesn't go away until end turn. I could sacrifice Trapfinder to Village Rites right here, but maybe there's a counter spell. I also just want to get in damage here, so I'm deciding to just go to combat. And as you'll see in a moment, like even comboing off in the second main phase can actually be fine, even against blue-white control. So my opponent goes for Shock Typhoon, X equals 4. Just taps out for that, trying to ambush Berkey. And you know what? We mulled to 5, and we had a bunch of removal spells in hand, so we had to keep 1. We kept the Fatal Push in hand, didn't know we were up against blue-white control. But now we know, and we see that this Fatal Push in our opening hand is going to be clutch. So right now, we can just Fatal Push the Shark here, gain another red mana. Now we have 2 red mana in pool. And get in our damage, that's whatever. And now I can like spend my last black mana here to Village Rites, get a 3rd red mana in pool, and let's see if we hit a Traveler. We do. Okay, so we hit Traveler here. We have 3 mana in pool. We have 2 cards coming in. None of them will land, but that's okay. We definitely have enough mana here. So I can just go off here. The thing is though, this is post-combat. I can no longer like do the full thing where I end up like killing them with Dominating Vampire. So what I'm trying to do here, and you can't really see it because, well, there's a thing where the cards you get off Traveler have no artwork here, so can't actually see which card it is. We can just guess. I guess this one was the spirit that draws a card, for instance. We can probably like guess what most of these are. But anyway, my game plan right now is, I span the board as usual, but I have a couple things in mind. Because most decks can't really deal with you, which just have a big board of random creatures. But blue-white is one of the decks that can. They have Divine Purge, exile everything with CMC 3 or less, and Supreme Verdict, just destroy all creatures. We're gonna get around both of these. How are we gonna do that? Well, first of all, Supreme Verdict, that's the easy one. You're naturally gonna get a bunch of zombies, and you get the Headless Scarab at some point, preferably multiple. And that just means that if they cast Supreme Verdict, all your zombies die and turn into 2/2 zombie tokens. And you'll just win with those. Divine Purger is a little bit more tricky to play around. Remember that there are 3 cards of the Traveler spellbook that cost more than 3 mana. It's like a 2/2 werewolf, a 6 mana 5/4 werewolf that costs 2 mana less if you already control a werewolf. And it's like a 5 mana 3/3 flyer. It can be pretty costly to play these cards because they're very expensive, right? Like they cost you're going down multiple mana whenever you play one of those. But if you can't generate enough mana, which you usually can when you go off, you can actually get a few of these. And what I was specifically trying to do was I was trying to get Tovolar. That's just a 3 mana 3/3 werewolf, not something that you're normally interested in. But Tovolar means that the 6-drops get cheap enough that you can actually reasonably take them. And then as long as I take a couple of those 6-drops, I'm actually pretty insinuated against Divine Purge, because I'll just be left with a couple 5/4s. I also have Prosper and Gigantha that I could play in case I don't really find the werewolves I need in time. But yeah, that's what happens. So I do that. I get a large board. Looks a bit like this. It's a super mess. And my opponent takes their turn, and they concede the game. And we move on to next. I don't know what they're actually doing here. Okay. Alright, so for sideboarding here, I can actually find that out. I do have I can go to my untapped account and figure out exactly how I sideboarded. But actually, I can also just tell you. I boarded out 3 Claim the Firstborn and 3 Fatal Push. Not all 4. I decided to keep in 1 Fatal Push. Because of stuff like Shock Typhoon and so it can actually be kind of like nice against control. And I believe I caught 1 Village Rights. Because sometimes it can be hard to like find uses for your sack outlets. Not positive that was the card I kept. But anyway, I bought it in Recursion, Acorn Return, Call Against Command. Bought it in Necroxa. And bought it in 3 discard spells. As well as the 1 Bone Shard to deal with Teferi. Alright, so this is an opening hand here. It's not amazing, but we do have a Croxer, which is really nice, and a discard spell, so I'm going to keep this. Putting these with a tap land, we go Inquisition here, and see... Oh, there was a card, yeah. See Divine Purge, and a lot of cards we can't take. At this point, I realized, okay, maybe Inquisition is not even that good against blue-white control. Nothing to do about that, though. And they top deck a Hushbringer. Okay, that's like, wow. That's usually not even played in blue-white control. I've never seen that before, at least. So I'm like, okay, well, I mean, good thing that I have this Call Against command to deal with it. Because that's, wait a minute. How does Hushbringer interact with Croxa again? Oh, yeah, that's pretty nice. So I just play a 2-mana Croxa. It doesn't trigger, so they won't have to discard. But also, Croxa doesn't sacrifice itself. So I just play that here and do a nice thank you. Like, they go nice, and I say thank you. Nice emoting there. And yeah, this is pretty cool. They attack me for 1 with a Hushbringer. And now I play the Friction Tower here, just as my land drop for turn. Gonna try and see if they drew a March. They did not. So I get to trigger my Croxa here. They're probably gonna cycle Shock Typhoon. I do have a decision. Like, I can Call Against command the Shock Typhoon. Like, kill that, make this kind of another card. Decide that's not really worth it here. The thing I really don't want to have happen is that they get to March on my Croxa. So I decide that I'm just gonna let them jump here. That's fine. I'm just gonna leave up my Village Rights so that in case they do kill Croxa, I will be able to get it back later. And yeah, so they hit their 4th land drop here. They just attack again and do nothing. I also do nothing. Don't spend my mana here. I don't want to tap out for the Call Against command because I fear that like they might have like Wandering Emperor or March to deal with my Croxa. Maybe that's a little bit of a chicken play here from my end. I think I'm probably just supposed to like spend my mana, Call Against command to kill Hushbringer, make them discard a card. I feel like that's probably a fine play. Anyway, because like they only have 2 unknown cards, right? So we attack with Croxa. They respond with Memory Deluge to have something to discard. Since we still didn't draw a land here, we actually drew a 4-drop. That's like not really ideal. Instead of passing the turn again. I mean, this Croxa is like single-handedly like killing them, but if they can't answer it, even if it gets a Village Rights, like, you know, it's not even looking that good because I don't have any pressure and I have all these cards in my hand. But on the other hand, you're playing against control, you don't really need pressure. They play a Castle Vantress, which actually comes into play tapped because like they don't have any ions. When they attack me here. Oh, actually, I believe you can like pop out the graveyard and see what they discarded. Yeah, so they discarded the Divine Purge, which is very interesting to me. That was like after they cast Memory Deluge, they discarded Divine Purge, and if this card is Supreme Verdict. So Divine Purge could actually be an answer to Croxa, but it also like exiles their Hushbringer, and I can just get back Croxa. Like once they replay Hushbringer, I can just replay my Croxa, so it's not actually optimal. Anyways, they just pass again here. Again, I just don't use my mana. I leave up my Village Rights, and this time I am gloriously and handsomely paid off here. So I think this is in my upkeep. Yeah, player upkeep. And now I can just Village Rights away the Croxa. By the way, while I do think the last turn I should have tapped out for Call Against command, killing Hushbringer, and like done that play. This turn, after they cast Memory Deluge, I think they're way too likely to have you know, Emperor on March. So that turn I would not tap out for the Call Against command, even though it was probably correct before. Anyway, we sacrifice Croxa here, so we get to draw a couple cards. Do we hit a land? Do we hit a land? We don't. We hit a third Berkey and a call against command. Okay, that's actually looking kind of grim now. So I thought that I was like really far ahead when I got to do that turn 2 Croxa, but now it's not looking great. Oh, but I do have a draw step. Yeah, this is in my upkeep, so I draw and play my Hive for turn. It's a tap land. It's not optimal. I would really have liked to just play a Berkey or something here, but opponent is like, you know, kind of out of cards, right? I'm sitting here with 7 cards in hand, so, and like, you know, a few 2-for-1s and so on. Like, it's actually like looking kind of nice from my end, as long as I hit my land drops. All right, so there's a Trapfinder. Trapfinder is pretty nice. That probably means that I, you know, would like to kill the Hushbringer right now. So I don't remember what I do here. I believe I just pass and I kill the Hushbringer in their turn. No, I just play Berkey. Okay, and it gets countered. Gets countered by Undersimplify, which is like basically a quench. 2 mana count unless they pay 2. My opponent's last card here. Okay, draws them 2 cards. Fair enough. They get in again. Like, now we're down to 12 life from this Hushbringer. It's kind of rough. I do draw a land right now. I still really want to get rid of the Hushbringer, but right now I have enough mana that I can like get rid of Hushbringer and play my Trapfinder and then like keep up Village Rights. So that's what I do here. I decide to oh yeah, okay. I decide to just like hold off on casting my spells. I guess they lock the you know, the like putting Call Against Command on the stack and then taking it back. I decide to play Trapfinder first, and wait with the Call Against Command until their turn. It just seems better against like potentially counter magic. Maybe like they played a tap land for the turn, so they couldn't actually. I think they played irrigated farmland for turn. No, they don't have 6 mana. Okay, they don't have 6 mana, so they can't quite flashback the Memory Deluge. That's definitely on my mind here. But I do activate Castle Mantras, and that's I spring the perfect opportunity here to let them resolve the scry, and then I Call Against Command, kill the Hushbringer. I just let them discard a card. I don't really care about getting back my 3rd Berkey anyway. Don't care about getting back Croxa. They discard another Supreme Verdict here. That makes sense. Untap, take the turn. They did scry 1 card on top. That was a Narset. Okay, so in response to the Narset, I will cast Village Rights. Let's see if they have a counterspell as the last card. They don't, and we do hit the Ominous Traveler. So now I'm feeling pretty good here. I even hit an Inquisition of Kozilek. So, and they find a March here. So, I don't hit a land here. So I could Inquisition first and then play Berkey. The issue is that like comboing with only 1 mana left over is kind of sketchy. You can do it pretty often, but it's just not as much of a guarantee. And I'm thinking that like maybe I can just play this really safe. So also in my mind here, they do have 4 lands untapped. In my mind, I don't register that 4 lands is enough for them to march my Berkey. So I'm thinking I should just play Berkey first, then Inquisition them to take their march without exposing my Traveler, and then play the Traveler and go off. So that's what I do here. And then, you know, realize that that's actually, you know, not how Magic works. So that's unfortunate. They do respond here, killing my Berkey. I guess I can sacrifice it to the Friction Tower, and I will have 3 mana left over when all is said and done. Look at their hand, take away Devout Decree. That's kind of neat. And I decide to, with 3 mana in my pool, I just play out my Traveler here. Go and get a 3/3, which is probably either the 2 mana 3/3 or the Dominating Vampire. It's probably Dominating Vampire actually. No, it's a 2 mana 3/3. Okay, and then play that. Use my Bone Charge, sacrificing the Spirit here to kill Narset. So that's not super efficient, but I mean, I guess I spent like my mana and my cards, and you know, I still have the combo available and a Call Against Command in case like something goes wrong. So right now, I'm just gonna try and go for it again. Slam the Berkey. This is like the turn for Memory Deluge, right? They have 7 lands, so like I definitely have to try and go for it here. Play my Traveler. They don't do anything about it. Even if they had done something about it, I did have Call Against Command, so I could like bring it back, so it would probably be fine. Had Friction Tower to sacrifice it. And now I just go off, do my thing, play a bunch of stuff, and eventually kill them. Yeah, wow. That was how I ended up beating Blue Eye Control 2-0 in the first round here. So, off to a pretty good start. Happy to see this result at least. And yeah, we're just gonna keep trucking along. So see you guys for next round, which will also be on 17 lands. I am sorry about that, but that's just how it's gonna have to be. Bye.